Hi, everyone. My name's Leah Hirsch. I'm the Senior Director of G4C Learn at Games for Change and the co-curator of the Games and Learning track this year. Time and again, Unity has proven it is more than just a game engine. The world is a better place with more creators, and that's exactly what Unity for Humanity is all about. Kevin Truong, Senior Grants Program Manager at Unity, is joined by 3 of this year's Unity for Humanity grant winners, Josh Staub, Peter Neill, and Ruolin, whose projects use real-time 3D to drive impact across education, sustainability, and healthcare. From immersive storytelling to transformative tools, their work showcases how Unity empowers creators to turn vision into action. Let's welcome our next panel.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know it's been a long first day, so thank you for winding down towards the end of day 1 with us. My name is Kevin Truong. I am with Unity, and I have the pleasure of introducing today's panelists. But first, I'll start off with a quick overview of what Unity for Humanity is. At Unity, we believe the world is a better place with more creators in it. That's our ethos and the vision behind why we created Unity for Humanity as one of our social impact initiatives. We empower creators who are leveraging Unity to make the world a better place that are aligned with a United Nations Sustainable Developmental Goal. And we support them through a number of ways, through our cash grant, which is an annual open call for a proposal that is available to creators and developers who are using not just Unity, but really real-time 3D as an engine for creating change. We also provide technical support as well as support with marketing and amplification for these projects. To date, we've provided over $2.5 million in funding to support these impact and visionary creators. We've supported over 300 creators and have grown our Discord community through Unity for Humanity to over 1,000 members. And just this past year alone, we were able to received 540 applications. This is a record number for us, and so we're really excited to continue seeing the program grow as it has reached over 2,000 submissions over the past 7 years and have reached creators from 150 different countries. And with that, I'd love to welcome our panelists to give a quick introduction of yourself, as you can give a much more robust introduction.
Sure. Do we have the slides, or do we?
Oh yeah, just a quick introduction, and then we'll go to.
Yeah. So my name is Josh Staub, and I am developing an app called the Small Talk ASL app, which is a way to, I think, in a more interactive way, get people to learn ASL. It's so beautiful to see our interpreters here today. And I can talk more about kind of the genesis of that project, but.
Yeah.
I'm Peter Neill, founder of the World Ocean Observatory, an online place to advocate for the ocean as an integrated global social system. So it transcends the conventional focus on species and habitat and demonstrates the way that the ocean connects everything. Almost every aspect of human endeavor finds its way back to oceanic systems.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ruolin. I'm a third-year PhD student at Cornell, and I'm doing research about caregiving robots. So I'm working on a simulation that simulates realistic human avatars and let researchers develop caregiving robot strategies using this simulator.
Yeah. Thank you. And so for the next about 15, 20 minutes, we're going to do more of a deep dive so that each of the panelists here today can share with you their outstanding work and ingenuity with their projects. And then we'll go into our moderation. And with that, we have Ruolin going first with Our Care World. You can pass down.
I'm going to pass that on to Ruolin.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Kevin. So I'm very excited to share this work with everyone, and thank you so much for Unity to support this work. So Our Care World is a human-centric simulation environment built with stakeholders in the loop. So when we begin doing research in this very impactful field, robot caregiving, we realized there aren't a lot of simulation environments available for this human-robot interaction particularly. And it's very challenging for us to actually do research, and for a lot of researchers who are interested in this impactful field to have access to these human avatars with mobility limitation and their home environments with all sorts of assistive devices and home modifications. And also, as roboticists, people need a lot of functionalities on the robot side. So we decided, so let's build a simulation world that has all sorts of functionalities so that more and more researchers can come into this impactful field and help make this caregiving robot develop faster. This is a typical environments in Our Care World. We have care avatars with mobility limitation, robots, and assistive devices in realistic home environments. One very cool aspect of Our Care World are the care avatars. We collaborated with occupational therapists to collect various data from people with mobility limitation, and we also collaborate with them to do a lot of literature surveys and got the realistic range of motion data and musculoskeletal data from these sources. And based on that, we create 6 care avatars with these mobility limitations and simulate the behavior of them. You can see they behave very differently. And based on this, researchers can potentially do testing or training of their algorithms using these realistic avatars before they actually deploy with real humans. And a little bit more detailed into the simulation. At its core, it's a Unity simulation rendering platform, and we have multiple interfaces, including Python interface and interfaces with various libraries for researchers. And we also support ROS interface, which is a very commonly used interface in robotics that enables it to seamlessly integrate with real robots and other robot platforms. And we also support VR to allow people directly see what's going on in the simulation and have some immersive experience with the robots or the humans or the environments inside the simulation. And once we have this simulation there, we would like to engage with the users, the community, as much as possible. So last month, we wrapped up this 5RC challenge at one of the top robotics conferences. We use Our Care World as a platform to support 2 caregiving tasks. One is robot-assisted dressing. The other one is robot-assisted bed bathing. So we have teams coming from all over the world and use the simulation platform to let them develop like various algorithms and have them compete with each other. And like we select the top teams to enter a real world competition. And then at the end, the winning teams got real robot as prizes. So now we have a large user community all over the world from lots of countries, and we're hoping to like expand our user community and have more and more people into this very meaningful and impactful robot caregiving area. Yeah.
I think, yeah. Thanks, Ruolin. Next up, we have Josh's presentation.
Well, as I said, my name is Peter Neill.
Oh,
I think
Josh.
I might be
I'm
next.
sorry.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
He's so
Sorry,
eager.
Peter.
I'm just so eager.
Okay.
No worries.
Okay, here we go. So, as I mentioned, my project is called the Small Talk ASL app. And first of all, I want to say that I'm very pro any app or any kind of way that people learn ASL, like however they want to do it. I'm all for it. I just felt like there might be a better, kind of more interactive way to do that. And I'll explain a little bit why. This might explain it a little bit why. So my background actually started in games. The beginning of my career was as part of the core team that developed the Myst series. I don't know if anybody remembers Myst. So I was there for 14 years before I went to Disney Animation, and I was part of the team that created Bolt and Tangled and Frozen and Big Hero 6 and a bunch of feature animated films. While at Disney, I was actually thinking about a project that had a couple of deaf main characters. And there's a long story there. But in starting to think about that, I realized, I need to learn ASL. Like, I need to immerse myself in the deaf community, learn as much as I can about the deaf community. And I really knew that it required a collaboration with the deaf community where they were really the ownership. They were the stakeholders of it. And as I started to learn ASL, I just found it kind of cumbersome, like the tools that were out there. And so this project, this more film or series project, also spawned in my mind sort of this app, like this way of learning ASL that was a lot more interactive and actually used the characters from the show so that you're actually interacting with them more than just watching kind of videos. So these are very temp, but basically you can imagine there's a lot of things that you might see in Duolingo with a character, like, there's multiple choice and so on for different signs, but most of the tools out there to help you learn ASL don't have much input from the user. So I can't ask the character, like, how do I sign this or how do I do this? And so because it's a live avatar, that I'm interacting with, I can actually have a conversation basically with that character. Another thing that's very basic, but because it's a live character and not like a video that I'm just watching, there's some signs that actually just from the front, it's hard to actually tell the difference between like a V and a K, for example. So the fact is, because it's a live character, I can literally just pick him up and turn him. There's a lot of things that are just very interactive about a game world and a real-time kind of interactive space that you don't have as much just, again, watching videos. So here's some of my team. I should say that half the people in this slide are deaf contributors, which is so important to me. And actually, a lot of times people ask me, like, for Disney projects, like, what's my favorite film to have worked on. And I'm sure it's like you guys who are all game creators out there. It's a hard question to answer about a project you've worked on because there's the difference between the project itself and actually the experience of making the project and like working with the people to make the project. And this has been like a labor of love for me. This is just an incredible experience. And I have lots of stories I could share about what it's been like to work with these collaborators in making this project. But so grateful also for Unity for Humanity and for their contribution to what I'm doing.
Looking around the room, I realize I think I'm the elder of all of you. I want to tell you that this is called paper. Some of you may remember it, but I need it. This morning, Leo Obel, the chairman of the board of Games for Good, did an astonishing thing, I thought, in my view. He essentially contextualized the work we're doing today in the history of ideas, as if we are part of the evolution of and development of ideas and their expression and their promulgation and their engagement with people all over the world over time and space. I was immensely inspired, and I was gratified by the degree of aspiration, and I'd like to live up to it just now. World Ocean Explorer is a function of the World Ocean Observatory. It is part of our process of transformation of science and policy into action. Big problem in the world these days that we're very good at planning. We're not that good at executing. And our job is to create a tool that I will now describe. It will now run in a video behind us, and I will read my soundtrack. What is the underlying purpose of the World Ocean Explorer? The biggest problem that we face in the world today, I would submit, is climate change. The solution. Climate is a function of the ocean. The ocean begins at the mountaintop, descends through hydraulic systems that descend through land and end in the abyssal plain. The ocean is the one natural system that connects us all through every element of human endeavor: freshwater, food, energy, health, finance, trade, transportation, community development, cultural exchange, and is our plan for the future. The challenge is this: how to design and implement this transformational change from science to policy to action. The UN Secretary General has characterized the global response to the climate challenge as too little, too late. The temptation is to do more of the same, to double down on what has failed us. But what we have not done is what I believe might make a new difference, a new outcome that would turn regress to progress, indeed, more than enough in time. The World Ocean Observatory was created to advocate for the sustainable ocean as an integrated global social system. Our purpose is to inform, connect, and engage a community of citizens of the ocean worldwide through innovative education and relentless communication, devising the most effective means to reach the most extended audience to create an informed political constituency for the benefit of all mankind. It's an aspiration. World Ocean Explorer, our virtual aquarium that you see on the screen behind us, is our unique tool to that end. It is more than a game. It is more than entertainment. It is a tool for intergenerational transformational engagement. It is pro-volutionary method, one element of a plan looking forward and by which we propose to change the way we see the world. World Ocean Explorer is freely accessible worldwide on any computer with an internet connection, anywhere, at any time. No barriers to entry, soon to include language. Today, it is already in use in classrooms in the United States, the Caribbean, Europe, Asia, Australia, and Africa. Translation into multiple languages will extend its use worldwide. Portuguese and Spanish, for example, necessary to enter the South American market. We don't call it a market, a South American audience. We don't have markets. The recent presentation to the UN Ocean Conference last week in Nice, France, enlisted hundreds of teachers and partnership links to marine educators worldwide. to links to the Blue School networks, for example, over 4,000 schools that are already using marine science as a focus for understanding science and the future. World Ocean Explorer is an immersive 3D exploration based on the principles of ocean literacy, STEM, STEAM, and other educational standards. It's curriculum-driven and globally adaptable. It promotes collaboration, engagement across all sectors to include informal educators, scientists, policymakers, artists, and the common man and woman. Recognition by the UN Decade of the Ocean, by Unity, our software partner, by many funders such as the Schmidt Ocean Institute and other supporters, and by your invitation to present here today is a welcome endorsement of our energy and innovation. But our supreme reward is already found in the extent and the effusive student reaction, the eagerness and the enthusiasms of teachers wanting more, and the emerging response by partners and parents who see that by this game for good, the interest and imagination of their children comes alive. Thank you for your interest and support.
Thank you. With that, we'll go into some questions that I have prepared for our panelists today. I want to start with a question to all of our panelists. What are some of the biggest myths or misconceptions that you've seen in your respective fields as you develop your project? And anyone can go first. Josh,
I
Peter.
have no fear.
Go for it, Peter.
I think that the whole gaming industry is faced with misconception. Mm-hmm. I actually think that much of the agenda that I've seen today is talking about conception and misconception. There's a certain bias that's built into the world audience about it. Some people condemn it. Some people certainly see it as not a pedagogical tool. And so all of these programs that we're hearing about here, I think are astonishingly powerful and positive in that they transcend that bias, that prejudice, and begin to take your imagination and your energy and your creativity out into the world to reach an audience that's so much different than the one that the original gaming commerce was built on. So I feel tremendous optimism about what's happening here, but I think there's quite a ways to go.
I can talk just, I guess, maybe more specifically about maybe my own misconceptions of the deaf community specifically as I started to learn more about this topic. There's a stat that I haven't been able to sleep well after I heard this stat, that 90% of deaf kids are born to hearing parents, and 75% of those parents don't learn ASL.
Wow.
So when I heard that stat, I feel like it became more of a mission thing for me. And one misconception that I had about my own project is that I thought that, okay, this is really going to be for hearing people to learn sign language, which is true. But one of the things I've been blessed to be able to do over these last few years is go around and visit deaf schools around the country and talk with, everything from high schools down to elementary schools to deaf kids and deaf faculty about animation and trying to inspire them to get into the arts and whatever. But I realized that, deaf kids are not born knowing ASL. Like, they have to learn sign language as well, okay, number one. But also, I'll never forget this one girl. I was giving a lecture, and I give my lectures completely using ASL, which is amazing for me to be able to kind of experience that. But a girl came up to me afterwards, and she said, "Please finish this app because then maybe my dad will learn how to sign." And I went out to my car and I just started weeping. So I think this has become more about building bridges of community building. And actually, I mentioned that there's a series as well in addition to the app. And the series is actually about communication. It's about diversity of culture and communication and how we miscommunicate with each other. And I've just felt that so much during the making of this project and trying to build bridges to people who speak different languages, come from different cultures, whatever. So I've learned so much during this process.
Thank you.
Yeah, so for me, one of the misconceptions is that a long time ago when I first started doing research in robotics, I thought if we want robots to actually be very helpful for people with mobility limitation, then they need to be autonomous and capable of everything, and everything should work perfectly. Then you can start deploy them to people's homes and help them do tasks. But actually, when we are talking with people with mobility limitation, even a very simple mobility aid can largely help them improve their quality of life. And we had this user called Henry. He is fully paralyzed, but the researchers helped him build a very simple teleoperation interface, and that can be controlled with his sip and puff, and then or through eye gaze and through his monitor, he can control a mobile robot. And then he actually just used that teleoperation interface to pick up a rose from the garden and handed that rose to his wife. And he felt so good after doing that. And that moment is very meaningful for both him and his wife. So not everything needs to be perfect, not everything needs to be autonomous, but we do need more researchers to really care about this impactful field and to start building some solutions for these people with mobility limitation. It's all about just a small improvement that can help them improve their quality of life.
Thank you. I know we may have a lot of aspiring creators and developers in the room. Could you share with us some of the roadblocks or some of the major technical challenges that you ran into as you created your vision or try to bring your project to life? Yeah, so some of your biggest challenges.
I'll answer that one first too. Convention. There's so much conventional thinking. I can actually smell it here too, by the way. There's a lot of conventional stuff going on, a little bit of the imitation, duplication, overlap that I see when I look around. The biggest barrier is to penetrate the biases and prejudices of the administrators. So you want to put something in the schools, your biggest enemy is the principal or the head of the science department or the director of the museum. We've always done it this way. We don't have time. We don't have the money. So one of the things that you have to do is to take away all the barriers. I had a conversation with Dr. Chopra this morning after he talked about the democratization of access. So I went to him and said, well, how can you have democratization of access with a paywall? And his answer was to give it away for free. Well, we give our program away for free. We also have a meditation space built into the imagined space submerged underwater. And it's a place where our visitors can go and have solace, have quiet, be exposed to the sensory experiences. When you consider how many people in this world have never seen the ocean, they don't understand the sound of the wind and the waves. And if you can give them that kind of thing where it becomes a place where they can go outside of the educational context and into a place of senses and solace and safety, then that confronts that barrier to begin with.
I have a couple personal ones that have affected this project. One, the method I first started with was to talk with studios about the series. And everybody that I spoke to, I pitched to Netflix and Apple and Disney. They all wanted the series and actually submitted offers for the series. But whenever I bring up the app, it's a separate but very important thing to me, they didn't really understand what that meant, why we would have that. I literally had people say well, sometimes we do a little marketing thing when the show is about to come out to promote the series. And I'm like, no, this is a super important thing. This is just as valuable to me as the actual series. So kind of running into just a misunderstanding of what this thing is, which ultimately I think comes down to financing. If you can't monetize it, they don't really understand why they would be interested in it. Like Peter, actually, I'm committed to making this app free for everyone for life always. I don't want there to be a barrier for anyone. That includes me. I'm not taking a cent from any money for the app. All of the funding goes to paying my team. And that's going to be the second roadblock I've run into, which is I'm committed to mentoring deaf artists and animators to help, mentoring through their work on the project. And because the deaf community hasn't had access to a lot of great training, I'm kind of running into the same problem that I'm also trying to solve at the same time. I'm also a professor at USC Film School, and so I've got this amazing team of some former students and other veterans like me in the animation industry who are contributing. But I've searched for years, and I have a hand-selected few deaf animators who are showing potential and are contributing to the animations that are used in the app. But it's been a really big challenge to try to get really skilled people from that community just because they haven't had access to great training. So I'm trying to actually provide that as well, through the process of making it.
Yeah, so Peter mentioned there are barriers. It's also existing in our area. So for us, to create all these simulation environments and the care avatars in a simulation, we need to actually go to people with mobility limitations' homes to take pictures, get measurements, but not a lot of people are willing to do this. And they don't want strangers in their homes, so we have to really communicate with them, explain what we're doing, and explain to them if we get this data, what can potentially be helpful to other people, other researchers, other stakeholders in the caregiving community. And then, and then we collected these data. And we also open source our softwares. We give people the executable files, like the apps, and we also open source all the source code we write so that other people can develop on top of it. And we hope to really democratize this caregiving robot research area so that more people can have access to the data we collected. A lot of people don't have access to that. Even they want to do research in this field, they cannot. So hopefully more and more people will join us, and more people can get a hold of this and develop on top of that.
Thank you. I also want to spend a moment to ask some more targeted questions to each of the panelists. And I'll kick off with you, Ruolin, if you don't mind. As a current PhD student, what motivated you to go into your particular field of study? Like, how did you decide that robotic caregiving was what you wanted to focus on?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So when I was in my undergrad, like 3 years ago, I was actually doing research in computer vision and graphics. At that point, all I cared about is how to make simulation more realistic and make it faster or make the rendering look better. But then I was actually in an outreach event. Like there are lots of professors and they talk about their research to us. And I met my advisor there, and he showed some deployment videos of the caregiving robots. And when I saw how those users' reaction after they do user studies with the robots in the lab I'm in right now, the excitement, and actually there are some users after they're fed by the robot or the robot like wipes their mouth. They're so excited and they actually said, now I feel I can have some agency and I have control of my own life. I don't need to really bother my caregiver to do everything for me. And I can see potential of this area if it really get into these users' lives, it can help them improve their quality of life. And I think that's how I want to apply these technologies. It's not only about like making things better, but all these things, they cannot only live in the lab, they need to go to users' lives.
Thank you. And Peter, you've essentially created a global classroom under the sea. I'm really fascinated. I could see myself as a high school student just absolutely loving exploring the sea. What are some of the reaction that you're seeing from some of the students so far? Like, what is it sparking a certain reaction for them?
Kevin, you were my model when we started, when my colleagues, Tricia Badger and Bjorn Grissom, who are out here, who've done the work for all of this, part-time, by the way. You were the model. You were the person that we were designing the entire thing for. Hadn't seen the ocean, were curious, all the rest. I think what unifies us all here is passion. This is not about career. This is not about financial reward. This is about providing service. This is about giving back. This is about what this whole conference is about, in the sense that we have here a tool that can be used for nothing or something or amazing good. And the technology is only as good as the person who uses it. And when the person who uses it is passionate about the outcome, you're far, far ahead. For me, it's the passion and the feeling that the ocean provides. It is a place that's filled with dynamics. It's dangerous. It's absolutely beautiful. It can wrap you up and challenge you with fear, and it can wrap you in peace. And because of the universality of water, water is life. And the ocean is just simply the conglomeration of all the water on Earth. And without that, we do not live, and all this is for naught.
Thank you. And Josh, you shared with us the moment where Smalltalk ASL cemented and became a mission for you, but can we take a step back and could you share with us why you chose to design Smalltalk ASL? You had such an impressive career in animation with a lot of amazing entertainment base. projects. But yeah, why Small Talk ASL? Why like an app for the deaf community?
Yeah, it's I wish I had that, like, oh, my sister is deaf, or I don't have that. I kind of, by some amazing grace, I fell into this a little bit. I will say that the series, which was really the impetus, I think like a lot of ideas, I'm sure this is true for many of you, there's not like one moment that's like, it's usually like a bunch of little things, and actually the kernel of the thing, I think for me was, I'll tell the story as quickly as possible, but when I was in 3rd grade, a family moved from Spain to where I grew up, which is Oakland, California, which is the most diverse city in America, which is where the show also takes place, so there's a reason for that. But this boy who came into my class, he didn't speak any English, and his name was Luis, and we became best friends. And a lot of people are like, well, how did that happen? Like, you guys don't speak the same language. Well, it's because my parents, ironically for this game convention, wouldn't let me have a Nintendo. But Luis had a Nintendo. And so every day after school, I would walk over to Luis's house and I would play Nintendo with Luis and his sister and his grandma. None of them spoke English. And we developed this friendship through this game, which I think is also a good theme for this conference. But then a couple years later, Luis and his family moved back to Spain, and my family traveled, took a trip, and my parents dumped me off with his family in Madrid, and I went to school with him for 3 weeks. And I didn't speak Spanish. And it hit me like I wasn't living there, okay, but I understood for the first time what it was like to not speak the language of all the people around me. And I think that really struck me and just kind of said, how do we cross these kinds of barriers, like language barriers? So it was actually that moment, I think, and again, the show is really about communication and how to build bridges through language, but also other things. And I think that was like kind of the kernel of this idea. And having these 2 deaf main characters is a very visual representation of like, how are these 2 people, like 2 people on the screen, one deaf and one not, how are they gonna function? How are they gonna figure this out? And I'd say the most beautiful thing that I've experienced working on this project is that we are living the show in making the show and the app, because we have a mixed group of deaf and hearing, and I've also committed to providing ASL training for every hearing person on the show. So they are learning ASL, but we have these meetings that are like, how is this gonna work? Like, we have hearing people who don't sign, and I sign, and I'm trying to be like the interpreter, but God gave those to a special gift, because interpreting is very, very difficult. And we're living out the show, and it's just been incredible. So anyway, I hope that kind of answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's became, again, a mission for me.
Yeah. Thank you. I know we're just about running up on time. Can we go to the last slide? You have the remote over there. Is the remote over there, Peter? Oh, thank you. So the last slide, just wanted to quickly say that tomorrow at 11:30, we'll have a Meet the Funders series if you want to learn more about Unity for Humanity and other social impact initiatives at Unity. And with that, thank you to the audience for joining us with this session, and a big round of applause for our panelists for sharing about their amazing work around social impact.